Hello and welcome to Dialogue. I'm Xu Qinduo. 12 years ago, Shen and Zhao Hongbo won China's first Olympic gold medal in figure skating. Now they are leading the next generation of China's figure skaters to prepare for the Beijing Winter Olympics. With new rules and the same passion for the sport, how are they influencing China's progress? Can the new generation surpass the glorious days? And how is the Chinese team ushering in a new era of figure skating culture in China? To find out, I'm joined by Shen, president of the Chinese Figure Skating Association. In the second half of the show, I'll talk to Sparos Kapralas, president of the Greek Olympic Committee. Hello, Shen. Thank you for the interview in the midst of your busy schedule. How ready are the athletes and the coaches of the Chinese figure skating team at this moment? Can you shed some light on that?
In fact, competing in the Winter Olympics is a dream for every athlete. What matters most to an athlete is whether he or she can participate in the Olympics and what ranking he or she can achieve. So in the past few years, our athletes have been putting in a lot of effort and have been making steady progress step by step.
Since China will be the host of the 2022 Winter Olympic Games, will that mean more pressure or more motivation for your figure skaters?
For our athletes, it means both pressure and motivation. We face different kinds of pressure in every competition, and we have to translate such pressure into strong motivation so as to do the best of our abilities in the arena. I think that for every athlete, including myself as a figure skater, it is a great honor for us to be able to participate in the Olympic Games here at our doorstep. I think we're very lucky. So each of our athletes will turn this pressure into motivation and strive to perform at their best in the Games.
As we know, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused great damage and has impacted all aspects of our lives and work over the past 2 years. We would like to know, what challenges the pandemic has posed for our skaters in preparing for the Winter Olympics, and how do you overcome these challenges, or deal with them?
The pandemic has brought big changes to everyone's life. It has led to negative consequences in many aspects, including in our work. Nevertheless, we have to accept the realities and become better positioned to handle different aspects of our work. For example, when the pandemic struck, many on-site figure skating events had to be canceled. So we changed the format of such events. We moved rating tests and matches online. We need to provide more platforms for more people engaged in figure skating, including young athletes around us. We must give them a chance to improve themselves at different stages of their careers. So actually, in the 2 years since the outbreak of the pandemic, young people have been participating more in figure skating rather than less due to the pandemic.
What is the current status of Team China in pair skating, men's and women's singles, ice dance and free dance? Do our skaters stand a chance to win medals or even gold medals in these events?
I think a major attraction and charm of sports is the unknown factor. The suddenness, serendipity, and uncertainty makes us pay more attention to sports. To become an Olympic champion is everyone's dream, and we all strive to pursue this dream. However, there will be many subjective and objective factors that have to be taken into account. In the Beijing Winter Olympics, a total of 5 gold medals are up for grab in men's singles, women's singles, pair skating, ice dance, and team events. All of our athletes, coaches, and team members have been working hard towards the goal of winning those gold medals.
The last time China won the championship was when you did so in 2010. So how do you see the development of figure skating in China over the past few years?
In fact, figure skating appeared very early in the world. It has been one of the official sport events since the first Olympic Games. When we won the Olympic championship in figure skating in 2010, we broke a 46-year dominance of Russia in this event. It took the hard work and struggle of several generations of figure skaters to make it possible for me and Zhao Hongbo to win the championship at the 2010 Olympic Games. I think it was the hard work and dedication of many of my predecessors that made that day possible. But figure skating as a whole is more of a dominant event for Europeans and Americans. It's only been in recent years that some excellent athletes have emerged in Asia, such as from China, South Korea, and Japan. However, great figure skaters are still hard to come by in Asia. Nevertheless, we still try our best in all aspects to train our athletes. For example, we use the latest technologies and data analysis to boost our training capacity. We also use some scientific research to achieve certain results in training.
Well, you said that scientific research has contributed to the training of our athletes. In this regard, where are we now in comparison with more developed countries in Europe and America in terms of how science and technology play a role in training our athletes?
In fact, in Europe and the United States, most of the athletes there get trained in places equivalent to social clubs in China. Athletes spend their own money on training, hiring coaches, renting the skating rinks, as well as skating suits and music arrangements, which is the common practice all around the world. In China, we can count on the whole nation to help train our athletes. For example, in technical analysis, we have real-time slow-motion playback technology. When an athlete is jumping, the athlete and the coach can see every second of the movement from the start of the jump to the fall on the ice very clearly. Every move can be analyzed very thoroughly, so we can see with our eyes the underlying causes of problems, such as whether the athlete has a skewed center of gravity or a forward lean. It's very clear to see what's going on in front of us. We no longer have to coach the athletes based on a rough feeling or our senses.
But in 2010, after you and your husband, Zhao Hongbo, retired, your work shifted from the front stage to behind the scenes. So in the past 12 years, you have been dedicated to building China's figure skating team. How do you see your work since you have retired from competition? And what is the difference between working at the front of the stage versus behind the scenes?
In fact, there are a lot of differences. As for what I'm doing now, I have learned a lot from the experiences of my predecessors. For things I'm not so sure about, I have sought advice from them and from other places. I've been an athlete for such a long time, and I have gained a lot of experience, including how to judge a situation when it is unexpected. I think one of the key factors is the athlete's willpower. We need willpower in all walks of life. Young athletes also need strong willpower because they may encounter many unexpected difficulties in their lives. They need to face the challenges and know how to overcome them. I think being an athlete has given me a very good mindset. I'm not afraid of any difficulties and always keep going.
I'm also curious, about the factors when we consider in choosing the music for figure skating competitions. Is there any difference in styles between the music chosen by teams from Asian countries such as China and the teams from Europe, America?
There are some differences. First of all, we set up performing standards for each athlete, his skill features, and the style of dance he can manage. We allow him to try different programs, different styles, and different themes. Once we identify the style and the theme that best suits the athlete, we'll then explore his potential in that area and give full play to his advantages. Over the years, no matter which path an athlete chooses to go down, we've always held fast to the idea that we want to spread the distinctive features of Chinese culture to the world. What belongs to China also belongs to the world. In the upcoming Beijing Winter Olympic Games, our athletes will skate to music with Chinese characteristics. While performing difficult techniques, they will also try to reveal and to express with their body language the true story behind the music.
Well, we know that China is the most populous country in the world, but the ratio of winter sports enthusiasts to professional athletes in China is actually relatively low compared to some developed countries. What do you think is the reason, and how can we encourage more people in China to get involved in snow and ice sports?
I think there are many reasons. For example, athletes of my generation are mostly from the three provinces of northeast China, because at that time, only northeast China had the unique weather conditions for winter sports. When we were young, we often went out skating in big open spaces. For example, we'd skate on a lake or on a flat playground that we covered with water. Winter sports were everywhere. Even when you walked on the road with normal shoes, you could slide wherever there was snow and ice. In fact, I think people in northeast China have a better sense of balance than people in other regions, because we're in close contact with ice and snow half of the year and it's part of our life. But in the south, people don't see ice or snow throughout the year, so it may be a bit strange for them. But with the successful bid to host the Winter Olympics, winter sports facilities have been built all over the country. For example, Guangzhou and Shenzhen now have many winter sports venues, so more people can get involved in snow and ice sports. For example, you can see skating rinks in some high-end shopping malls. We've had some small competitions there so that children can see figure skating up close and eventually get involved. This is why our association is working with the Chinese Dancers Association this year to create a set of broadcast gymnastics featuring figure skating moves. We are using this as a way to get people who don't have access to snow and ice sports to go learn about figure skating in the form of drills and exercises. When children watch figure skaters doing moves in the Winter Olympics, they can say, "I can do this too." In doing so, the audience is brought closer to the sport itself. We also want to use this as a kind of bridge between the general public and ice sports, so that more people can become part of the movement. Apart from this set of exercises, we've also created some moves about etiquette in figure skating. For example, at the end of training, competition, or performance, each athlete has to do a salute to pay tribute to the referees, the coaches, and the audience.
Okay, what are your plans for the future? For example, will you continue to work for the cause of figure skating in China after the Beijing Winter Olympics?
I think that no matter what kind of work I do in the future, figure skating is my lifelong passion. Because I've been involved in figure skating since I was 6 years old, it has been deeply rooted in my life. So no matter what the future has in store for me, I will always do something related to figure skating, including things that can help the development of figure skating. I also hope to get more people to fall in love with figure skating.
Well, finally, I wish the Chinese figure skating team good luck in their preparation and competition. Thank you.
谢谢。
Coming up next, earlier I also spoke with the president of the Greek Olympic Committee to get his insights about China and Greece's relationship in sports and other cultural activities, and his views on the politicization of sport.
Out the politics from the Olympic Games. Let's have the athletes be the one and only performers in this whole thing. And let the athletes take all the attention of the media. Leave the athletes to do their own job, compete in the Olympics.
First of all, what's your expectation for the upcoming Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics? How will it be different probably from previous games?
Well, I think in Beijing, you're creating history because it's the first time that the city will have the honor to organize both summer and winter games. I think this is something that it happens for the first time. It's a world record. And not only that, but I'm sure that in China, you know how to organize great sport events. And therefore, as we saw back in 2008, and therefore, I'm sure that because you have the experience also of organizing major sport events in other sports, I'm sure that the games that will happen very shortly now in Beijing will be a huge success.
Speak of this Winter Games. Greece is a great country, but your people have yet to win a medal, right, at the Winter Olympic Games. That's your seems to be the area your people are working at. What are you doing, like, to improve upon that? Let's say.
Greece, Sheila, will have a presence also in Beijing, as we have had in every summer and winter Olympic edition. Of course, we're not a country that has developed winter sports, and it's very difficult for us because otherwise it's impossible for athletes to train in Greece and to have the similar conditions as their competitors. Unfortunately, it requires a lot of resources, because athletes can only train outside Greece, and therefore we cannot be as competitive as other. We had an athlete who was very promising, but unfortunately he got hurt just a few months before Beijing, and therefore he's going to miss the Beijing Games. But still, I think, talking about Olympic ideals, participation is also very important, and Greece will be participating.
I totally agree with you. The spirit is really about participating in the event and compete, right? And so for the friendship and the competition over there. Speak of the strength of each nation. I mean, China is not exactly good at the winter sports, let's say, similar to Greece. But there's a large population. I mean, if you look at the government plan, they are targeting at basically to increase the number of Chinese participants in winter sports to 300 million by 2025. That's an ambitious plan. What do you make of that effort?
Well, I think that the new infrastructure that you're creating, the interest of the Chinese people to sport, and also developing new sports that are less known in China will be crucial for the development of the winter sports, and maybe perhaps reaching the number of 300 million people by 2025. It's a huge number. And, winter sports give a lot of pleasure to people, and therefore it can be a great entertainment for everybody. And now you'll be having additional means, the infrastructures, to be able to practice those winter sports.
Yeah. Do you mean that, by having those infrastructure, by making full use of that infrastructure, it's working like a start for the Chinese to popularize some of the winter sports, especially among the young people, probably?
Absolutely, because you already have a tradition in some of the indoor winter sports like speed skating, where I've seen some great Chinese athletes participating in previous editions of the Olympic Games. But now you'll have also the possibility to develop into other sports in other areas where they were less popular in China, perhaps because people didn't know about them. And therefore, I'm sure that the winter sports will, after the Beijing Olympic Games of 2022, all these winter sports will become much more popular. And from that, not only you'll be able to have great athletes, but also to develop the whole base of having many athletes and many young people starting and loving sports, even though this sport is not the traditional sport of the Summer Games, but it's going to be on the snow or on the ice.
That's right. Just like this Tokyo Summer Olympics, the Beijing Games will be facing this pandemic, with this new variant, Omicron. Obviously, that's a challenge. As far as you know, how the Beijing Organizing Committee is preparing for the prevention and the control of the COVID-19?
We have received information. There are the first booklets that came out where we know that the Beijing Organizing Committee has taken all the necessary measures for the protection of the athletes, but not only the athletes, but also of the people of Beijing and of China. And therefore, I think that when hosting these games will give again to humanity a message that all together we can manage together, finding ways to win versus this pandemic. And I think, and I'm certain that all the delegations that will come to Beijing, everybody will respect the necessary measures, and they will take the necessary precautions so that the games will happen in security and safety for everybody.
The year 2020, I believe, a lot of events, a lot of activities were cancelled, were removed from the calendar because of the pandemic. But then gradually, we become more resilient, I would say. We resume those activities, resume those events. But of course, sometimes it's being disrupted by the pandemic, by the outbreak. But still, I think we are getting used to that kind of challenge. Speak of that, how your organization, your committee is preparing your athletes to participate in the Beijing Games?
The pandemic hurt everybody. Some people got hurt more, some people got hurt less, but everybody, when you have the sport facilities closing down, when the athletes have to change their way of training, it's something that's very difficult for everybody. However, as we saw, both for the summer games and now we see for the winter games, athletes have shown creativity. They try to practice in different ways. We in Greece, we tried to open some of the sport facilities just for the elite sports, so that only the best athletes could use those facilities and continue training. Of course, they missed some of the important competitions that would be great for them, to help them to prepare better for the games, to qualify for the games. But that's a reality everybody has to face. And number one priority for all of us is to be safe and secure.
Besides, events like these will bring athletes, young people from different countries, and then they compete, they will meet each other, they will forge this friendship. Of course, there will be Greek athletes, Chinese athletes, but beyond that, Greece and China, they have launched their official year of culture and tourism in September with a series of events throughout this year and the next in both countries. So tell us, why they enjoy the wonderful relationship, in China and Greece, but they are doing this, to further bring the two peoples together. What's the significance of doing that?
I think, and thank you very much for the question, because Greece and China have a long, long history. I think we need better cooperation. There is already a business cooperation between China and Greece, but now we're improving into tourism, we're improving into other areas, into technology sharing, and to bringing younger people together. And in sport, we can do more because we can take advantage of each other. We can have our athletes train to each other. We can have coaches helping each other in areas where we think that one country can help the other.
Yeah, can you be a little bit more specific in terms of this sports area for the two countries, for the athletes from the two countries to join hands, probably to learn from each other, to help each other?
Yes, absolutely. We can organize, for example, in Greece, because we have good weather, training camps with your top athletes and use the existing facilities that we had for the Olympic Games of 2004 and train with our athletes. We can also take advantage of your know-how. We are strong in gymnastics. China is also strong in gymnastics. Therefore, it's going to be a challenging for the athletes to train together. On the other hand, we cannot say that we're so strong in table tennis. You are right. the leaders of the world. But we can learn from you, and you can help us develop further this sport, this so lovely sport that I don't think you have a big risk of us stealing the medals from your athletes. You're always
No, we can certainly play some ping pong. Absolutely. On a bit of politics, we say sports should be separated from politics, but still, the diplomatic boycott of the games. What do you think of that kind of gesture?
We always feel that sport and politics should be completely different. And therefore, especially we should not use the Olympic Games as a platform to present political ideas. And I think that we should be putting on the side issues that other people do not dare to touch, and leave the athletes to do their own job, compete in the Olympics, enjoy their being together with the athletes of so many countries, and give the best from their efforts, and to enjoy the results of their own personal achievement. Because I've been an athlete myself, and I competed in 1980 and 1984 Olympic Games, the ones in Moscow, the others were in Los Angeles. And in those games, some fellow athletes, friends of mine, were not able to compete because their countries boycotted the Olympic Games. This has remained in their heart as a dark spot, because there is nothing worse to do to an athlete than to stop him from competing in Olympic Games after he has done so much effort. It's the dream of his life. And sometimes politicians, for different reasons, they decide not to let him participate. I think this is catastrophic. It shouldn't happen again, and we should never use the platform for Olympic Games for politics.
And also, the Olympic events is already undertaking this task, I would say, for building a clean environment, pollution-free environment, and also the efforts to fight climate change. I think some people are probably burdening this game, this Olympic event with too much political missions. Politicians probably should have other channels to deal with their issues.
Well, that's exactly how we feel, because the Olympic Games and Olympism, with its ideals, try to make the world a better place to live in through sport. And that's why we say, out the politics from the Olympic Games. Let's have the athletes be the one and only performers in this whole thing. And let the athletes take all the attention of the media, because they participate in a noble competition, and then the best wins.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kapralos. Thank you for the time and insights on the Beijing Winter Olympics. I wish you a pleasant trip and a beautiful, beautiful competition in Beijing with your athletes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to come to Beijing, and I'm sure the games will be a big success. And what I will say, something that I learned in Chinese.
Please.
Jufu Chunguo, Jufu Beijing.
Okay, best wishes for China, best wishes for Beijing. Thank you. Again, thank you, Mr. Cabrales. Well, with that, we come to the end of today's show. Many thanks to Mr. Cabrales. You can also watch us on the CGTN app or on YouTube. I'm Xu Qinduo. Thank you for watching. See you next time.